Throughout today, we've reflected on what it means to be a light in the world, in our workplaces, our communities, and in the lives of others. In the world of athletics, that light often shines on a global stage. And as we look toward the 2028 Olympics, that stage is coming right to our doorstep. We have a remarkable panel today who knows what it means to perform and deliver under that spotlight, and more importantly, to live with integrity and purpose both on and off the rink, the court, the field, in business negotiations, and beyond. Please welcome to the stage Rand Perry, CEO of Sperry Equities and Sperry Commercial, chair of our Conference on Business and Ethics Committee, and moderator for today's panel. Rand, welcome. I think you just talked.
Is it on? Oh, it's on. Okay. Well, thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Rand.
You've been doing an incredible job. All right, if we could bring up our panelists in just one moment. I just have to reflect on something that I thought of, which is either good or bad, depending on how you feel about it. But Dan Walker mentioned how this was, in the very beginning, you started at breakfast and you ended at lunch. And it really hasn't changed that much, has it? So, but this year, it's actually even more unique. When you came in here, it was winter. And when you will leave, it will be spring. Now, that's a long conference, I'll tell you. Okay, so let's bring up the panelists. We have Ryan Tollner coming up, Carson Palmer, and Katie Rodin. And just grab a microphone and sit over here. Hi, good morning. Katie, good morning. All right, what you've all been waiting for. So what I'm going to have them do first is introduce themselves. We'll start there with Ryan, because I think you could do a better job than I can in terms of what you do and how you do it. So,
well, thank you, Rand, and thank you for having me, OCF, and really excited to be here. I've got my family with me, my wife Mary and my daughter Grace, and my in-laws and their family. So. I have been a sports agent now for 26 years. This will be my 26th NFL draft, and built a sports agency that we were able to sell to a bigger sports agency, and that only made me busier to go to work for a bigger company. But it's been a passion play for me. I was a college football player. I was a quarterback that was nowhere near as good as him. And he actually has had two of my dream jobs, which is NFL quarterback and high school football coach. But I've taken the consolation of working with NFL players and guiding them from the college ranks to playing in the NFL, and I've had the good fortune of managing some of the best players to play the game. And so grateful for the job that I have. And again, thank you for having me.
All right, 26 years. And still a baby face, right? I'm surprised it's been that long. Now, next we have Carson Palmer, right? Okay.
Yes, good morning. Carson Palmer. Grew up in Orange County, went to Santa Margarita High School, then went and played football at USC and in the NFL for 15 years. Got done playing football in 2017. Started a real estate business. Then, before I knew it, I was coaching my alma mater, back coaching at Santa Margarita High School. I've got 4 kids, 3 of them there at Santa Margarita currently. Child of God and honored to be here.
All right, and Carson and I can relate because I believe your first 2 born are twins, boy-girl twins, right?
Correct.
Yes, my number 3 and 4 were twins, and they all went to Santa Margarita, so we got something in common, even though I've never met you. But my son was a freshman when you were a senior, right, Brian? 2 years older than. Anyway, he didn't play football, so you didn't know him. Sorry. All right, Katie.
Hi, everyone. My sports background is really embarrassing, so I'm not going to talk about it. I did not play football. I do not have any sports awards or pivotal moments to share. My background in sports is the other hat that I wear, other than what I talked about earlier, which is serving as Chief Legal Officer for the Samueli Enterprise. That's predominantly what I've been doing for the last 18 years for them. So for the first 16 and a half years with them, I ran all the legal affairs and business affairs for all their businesses, but including their sports properties, which is the Anaheim Ducks and the San Diego Gulls, the NHL and AHL teams. So not football, but pads and helmets.
Wow, that's quite a career. And congratulations. I believe, did you just get a promotion? You're head president now of...
I did, thank you.
Yes, president of...
I'm president of H&S Ventures, which
Oh.
is their family office and management investment company.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, after Broadcom, but
That's
yes.
right.
All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we'll get going with some questions here. I'm going to start, I think, with Ryan. Ryan and Carson on this one. When did you first realize your character mattered in an environment that can reward winning over integrity? This is a tough one because you can cross the line. So what do you think, Ryan?
Well, my first job out of college was in investment banking, and I learned a really valuable lesson for me, which was that my heart wasn't in it. And while it was a road to potentially making good money, that wasn't what was going to drive me. And so I was young enough and naive enough to enter into a business I knew nothing about and try to become a sports agent and start my own business. And I went in with the best of intentions because I knew that it was an industry that was sort of labeled as a little bit slimy at times, and how a lot of the agents would approach players, and we've all kind of heard, maybe some horror stories of agents that have affected eligibility or something like that. And so I went in, with the clear thinking that I was going to offer something different, and I wasn't just going to be one of the good guys. I was going to try to be exceptional in everything that I did, and so. That character component has always sort of led what, my approach to the business. And, I had a strong foundation in my Catholic faith, so that was really my guiding light in all the decisions that I would make. But I realized, too, that as I would lead with character, or what I call lead with heart, with the players and families that I would get in front of, that would appeal to the right level of character, and that character attracts character. And so that for me was really valuable early on, because I had a profile of a player that would interest me, and it was heavily centered in who they were as a person and what they stood for. And obviously they had to be good enough to play, and that was another measure. But if I could then present my value system to them, it would appeal to the right people. And that has served true for me in the course of my career. And to this day, that's sort of my brand, I guess, within the NFL, is that the players that I bring to the table are going to be players that stand for more than just pure ability. They're going to be good, good faces of the community, and make a difference, and you don't have to worry about them off the field. And so that has been really a foundational principle of me and my business and everybody that we've hired is we're going to be a values-oriented business, and character is going to be the premium to what we offer in the service that we provide these young men attempting to play pro football.
So Ryan, the latest person you signed is a gentleman named Munoz. Can I talk about this?
It's similar. Mendoza.
Oh, Mendoza. Sorry, I'm not really a football guy. It's crazy I'm up here doing this, but okay, Mendoza.
Yes. Fernando Mendoza. I mean, he's a prime example.
From
every
Indiana.
time he gets an opportunity to speak, he deserves that. He's immediately gonna speak to his faith, and then he's gonna deflect praise to his teammates and his coaches and everybody but himself. And that character is obviously what drew me to him. Not to mention he's a pretty good player. But no, I'm grateful to get to work with guys like that, and then get to help them understand the challenges of what's ahead. He certainly knows firsthand of how hard it is and what a cold business that the NFL can be. But that's exciting for me. Fernando has actually been out here training, preparing for the draft, and going to mass every Sunday with my family, and he's a legitimate guy. He's going to have a great impact whether he throws for a ton of yards and touchdowns or not. He's a really incredible person.
All right, well, your mother-in-law spilled the beans, and I didn't know if it was public or not, so I took a chance with it. Sorry, Ann. Okay. All right, Carson.
Yeah, I think just to add to Ryan's comments, I think character and winning go hand in hand, at least lasting or consistent winning. There's always going to be success or winning when somebody is cutting corners, but it's hard to endure. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to continue winning. So, something I preach to our young men in our football program on a consistent basis is you can't cut corners. If it's lifting and you're in the weight room, you can't, when it's 4 sets of 6, you can't decide to only do 3 reps or 4 reps, because those things show up. And when you consistently give it your best, you consistently show great character, you're consistently great on campus, great in the football facility, those things are what create a winning mentality, a winning culture. And I just think those 2 things, to be consistently winning, you got to have character to go with the winning.
By the way, for those that don't know, Carson just took Santa Margarita Catholic High School, the Eagles, to the state championship and won it in his first year of coaching them. Not bad, huh? And so the next question is, do you see back-to-back championships in your future? Actually, that wasn't a question, but go ahead and answer.
No, if you're not asking the question, don't put me on the spot. But no, I mean, I'm really excited about the opportunity we have as a team. But as everybody in this room knows, the Trinity League football and Trinity League sports are incredibly competitive. There's great individuals leading, these schools, great individuals leading these programs and all the sports, and so it's as competitive as it is probably in the nation, and I think everybody feels really good about their chances of being CIF champions, being state champions this year, and we're no different. We got a lot of work to do and a lot of great character to continue to build and culture, but we hope to be back. But only one man knows that.
Well, and who is that? Anyway, congratulations again. It was exciting to see Santa Margarita go all the way this year. All right, Katie, we've got a question for you. What steps can leaders or even team members take to foster a working culture where ethical behavior is expected to be the norm? And you got a tough thing. You're running a couple different franchises here, so.
Yeah. I mean, I love how you say character attracts character, because I think that's true in all walks of life, but especially in the sports industry as well. And I mean, as leaders, the best that we can do is we can walk the walk, right? And demonstrate what it means to be in this industry and be a leader and move about in an ethical way. This morning I was having a conversation with one of my favorite people, who's the president of the San Diego Gulls, who's here today. And we talked about how when you're authentic, how much easier it is to navigate in this world. When you are who you are and you make decisions for the right way and right by people. And so I think the best that we can do is provide guidance to those who work in our organizations and around our organizations, that being true to ourselves and being true to each other actually brings the sport further and brings business further. Otherwise, it's short-term gain, and short-term gain is short-term gain. It's not long-term sustainability. So,
yeah, I like what you're talking about there. Is just, it's hard to be one person here and a different person there. It's very difficult to navigate that. So being who you are just totally makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I'll hear people talk about other people, and they'll say, I met Carson Palmer, and he's really the salt of the earth. And I think what they're really saying is they're saying he's a good guy, and he doesn't act like he's done all these terrific things in sports. He's just a typical guy, behaving like any one of us would behave. And so I think that is great advice there. Do either of you want to share anything on that question, or did you forget the question? Okay. Feel free, if you have a comment, to step in. All right, well then I'll give one to Carson. Have you ever faced a moment where doing the ethical thing came with a personal or professional cost?
I think all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think of one moment that jumps out, but I think that goes hand in hand with character as well. If you're striving to be a good character or do the right thing, ethics are a part of all of our lives. Probably everybody in this room. There's moments or opportunities when you know the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do. So I think it's something that you deal with. Decisions you make on a daily basis where ethics are involved. I don't have one specific moment, but I think something comes up just about every single day. Whether it's dealing with one of my children and something that happened with a teammate or a schoolmate, whether it be with somebody within our staff, there's moments, I think, where we all make those decisions, and opportunities to make the right decision or the wrong decision are part of everyday lives. And I think, me personally, how I deal with it is when I'm in one of those moments, I pray. I ask for God, show me the light, and very, very rarely does he ever give me the answer I'm asking for or wanting. I probably think, everybody in this room can relate to that. But at the end of the day, when you don't get that answer from God, you got to go with your gut. And if you have great character, like we've talked about, I think your gut will show you the right direction to go in.
Yeah, and we do get that foundation by going to Catholic schools, don't we? A lot. It really is a guide for all of us, starting from kindergarten or whenever you start. Ryan, anything to add?
Well, in my business, the sort of the ethically challenged area is recruiting, and there's about 900 agents, trying to recruit what'll be 32 first-round draft picks every year, and so it's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of effort to do and say whatever it takes to sign players. And I just made that commitment a long time ago that wouldn't be me and it wouldn't be our business. And so we run into it all the time where, if we would just, maybe position ourselves some other way, we would sign a player. And it's certainly cost us business at times. And I mean, I have one in particular that, I was confronted with a really great, promising prospect that wanted to know if he should declare early for the NFL draft or play another year of college football. And in my heart of hearts, I felt that playing another year of college football was the right thing for him. And that's not what he wanted to hear. And so it cost me the opportunity. He took my advice and stayed in school another year, but it cost me the opportunity to represent him, and he's one of the very best players in the NFL now. And so, but I know I did the right thing, and I think now he knows I did the right thing too.
Yeah, and that is the toughest thing, because here you can make a buck off the kid. You realized he wanted you, and he wanted you at that moment, and you knew that wasn't the right thing for him. And I mean, I could relate in my business. I'm in the real estate business and real estate brokerage, and there are often times I'll interview a top person from another company, and that would bring in 7-figure income, and but then you find out that they're not really honest and ethical in all their dealings, and I just can't have that. We want to be the good guys, right? And we have the opportunity to go to Catholic schools, some of us, and we want to really be that person in our business as well. So I can really relate to that kind of a story. All right, Katie, I've got one for you that I got to find it here. Sorry. When mistakes happen, how do you practice transparency in a way that upholds your ethical standards? Running these organizations, things happen, and how do you deal with them in an ethical way?
I mean, as a lawyer, my background is helping people fix mistakes, right?
Yeah. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah. And so what I say so oftentimes when someone comes to me and either... Oh. Hello?
Oh, there it is.
and either highlights an issue we're trying to navigate around, or highlights an issue that actually happened because of a mistake. I mean, the first thing I say is that we're all here on this planet to learn as human beings, right? And the trick is to not repeat the same mistake. That's actually where the problems lie. And there's always a solution to every mistake. You just have to pick the right solution, doing the right thing by people. But it's easy. All of us are human beings, right? We were all children, right? We did something wrong and we hid it from our parents. It's easier to just do that, but you carry that with you, right? And it compounds over time. And in an organization, it compounds in meaningful and negative ways. And so transparency is a way to not only just manage our risk in general, but to make sure that the efficacy and the ethics of an organization are upheld. And so the techniques that I use is, one, creating a safe space. Creating a safe space so we can have really good, solid conversations about what went wrong, why it went wrong, what we're going to do to prevent that from going wrong in the future, and then how we're going to work together to fix whatever it was that happened. And the other thing that I think is really important is to lead by example. And so also being human beings, I mean, we all make mistakes, I make mistakes, and not hiding that from people that I work with. So if I make a mistake, or if I think I'm doing the right thing and I make a misjudgment, I own it, we talk about it, and then we move on. And I try to apply the same thing to others.
Well, that's good advice. We could give that to some of our politicians, I guess. Couldn't we? All right. I've got one. Let's see, for Ryan, and maybe for the whole panel. But what red flags do you watch for that may indicate your business, your client, or your team is drifting away from organizational values?
Well, we talk a lot. First of all, in our business, we try to be really clear as to how we define winning. Back to sort of your first question, and we don't talk at all about the bottom line. We don't talk at all about P&L. We're a service-based business, so it's always a focus on the service. And in our business, each client that we make a commitment to has the same hopes and dreams as any other. They may not project as highly, or the future may not appear as bright at the time, but we make that commitment and we have to uphold that commitment. And so if at any point there appears to be a prioritization of clients based on maybe what they pay the company or something like that, that's an issue. And so we're always really sensitive to make sure that we apply the same service to every single client. Again, their hopes and dreams are in our hands. As we define winning, then it comes back to sort of the gratitude that each client and their families express to us for the service that we provide. And we talk about that being at the end of their career, that they would say, well, you made a real impact on my life or gave me the best opportunity to be successful. That's the only true definition we can find in success in what we do. And if we're truly great at that, everything else will take care of itself, and the bottom line will take care of itself, and byproduct will be the company makes money and all the individuals can have success. But let's stay focused on that definition of winning. And so other areas that we look for are just honesty. We talk 100% honesty all the time. And so let's not ever get into some sort of web where we're saying something to one person and we're having to cover it with somebody else. Like, you're better off just not to talk. Don't say anything at all. And so we sort of preach this concept of touch, which oftentimes is just know when not to talk. That's the only way you're going to get yourself into trouble, is just know when to listen and keep your mouth shut, and then we can figure out how to solve issues from there.
All right, that's good advice. Shut up if you don't, if you're going the wrong way. Carson, now, I want to try to gear it towards the football, what you're doing right now with the high school kids, if you can.
Yeah, I think, what I did previously to coaching was playing. And so being an NFL quarterback, one of the things you are, aside from the guy delivering the football to the players, is you're sometimes a therapist. Sometimes you help in the financial guidance world. There's so many different hats you wear. You're the face of the franchise. You're dealing with the media. You're doing so many things. But kind of the therapist approach was I would look for performance. I could tell, if there's a receiver that's, consistently in one practice is running routes, maybe not at 100%, not catching the football, and it's a consistent guy that normally is, performance would be the first thing that showed me. And hey, what's going on? What's happening? Oh, I'm going through a divorce, or I've got an issue going on at home, or there's a financial thing happening. And so that's helped me, and the new hat I'm wearing as a coach is performance. So if I have a student athlete that is a really good student, but all of a sudden he's on my list that month consistently for grades, or you're not seeing that performance on the practice field, checking in with that individual and say, hey, what's going on? Sure enough, it's something, their mom and dad are having an issue. There's something going on with a family member. There's something going on with their girlfriend on campus. But the lead indicator is in my business is performance. When you see somebody that you know is very consistently doing something, and then it starts to slip, whether it be in the classroom, on the field, it's always a great indicator and something that, like you said, red flag. That's a red flag. I need to go have a conversation with that individual and see what's going on. Maybe it's something deeper than they're just struggling in math. There might be something with that. They're struggling to line up in the correct formation and execute the play at the level that and the standard that we have set for them. What's going on? And it maybe something going on with their grandmother's sick, or there's so many little things that can affect your performance in the classroom and on the football field. So that's always the red flag that I consistently look for.
So how is it different from high school football to the NFL in terms of these issues? Is it like the same pretty much, or
it's no different?
It's
They're
no
just,
different,
and my wife and I talk about it. We've got high school kids and younger kids, and we say it all the time: bigger kids, bigger problems. Bigger kid, from high school, you're still a kid, and when you're playing football, even at the NFL level, bigger kid, bigger problems. And so it's very consistent. Those problems, the more wealth that NFL players acquire, the more pressure, the more expectation, and the bigger the problems.
yeah, but bigger but similar. You're usually
very similar.
family issues, or like you said,
Just
girlfriend.
maybe bigger scale.
Yeah,
Same
bigger
scale.
problems,
but the scale of whatever the issue is just seems to be a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier.
And perhaps that's why you could relate so well with the kids that you're coaching. Yeah, great. Katie, did you answer it? You started off, right? Did you answer that question? I'm sorry.
I didn't.
Okay. I'm getting distracted listening,
okay.
but I guess that's
okay.
what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's okay. You're good. You're good.
All right. What red flags, that was the question, I think. What red flags do you watch to indicate your business, client, or team is drifting away from organizational values? Did you answer that one?
I didn't, but I
could you?
can. I mean, it'll be very, very similar. The red flags. Look, as a business leader, and also with my hat as a lawyer, the best red flags are regular communication with the team and the people. When you have regular communications and you talk about what the mission is and you talk about what winning means, you can start seeing signs when they're not following along. Or if you don't talk about it, you won't oftentimes see those red flags until they're too late. So for me, I mean, it's red flags are subjective, right? What is a red flag? But what I look for is just signs of alignment. Are we aligned? Is there misalignment? If there's misalignment, why is that, right? Is it because there's just a competing goal at that moment, or is there a philosophical alignment? And if there is, how do we achieve realignment to make sure that we're repositioned to continue doing the right thing, making the right decisions? Sometimes when those decisions in a business perspective aren't the best for the P&L, but they're best for the people, or they're best for the vision and the mission, but they may not be best for the initiative that is on that person's plate at that moment. So just constant communication, I think, will help identify red flags, because by the time you actually see a true red flag, it's a little late.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Many people look up to you, all of you. Athletes, fans, young leaders, what responsibility do sports leaders have to make a positive impact in their communities? I mean, you could probably go on and on. All of you can, so I'll start with you, Kate.
Mine is twofold. One is in the sports industry as a whole, and then the second one is a female executive in the sports industry. And I'm consciously aware of people trying to break into this amazing industry and always trying to find the best way that they can get in, and seeing the path that others have laid out. One technique I use is describe to people all the different unique ways that you can enter into this industry. Everybody has a different story. There's really not really a recipe for entering the sports industry in the various ways that you can. And so I try leading by example by having conversations around the uniqueness of people's path and journey. And also to keep people motivated to find ways into the industry when they've been dying to get in or interested to get in for a long time. And then on the other side of things, I try every day to acknowledge how hard it is sometimes to strike a life-work balance with a family. Being a mother, I have a spouse that's incredibly, incredibly supportive. I would not be able to have the job that I have without him. And I talk about that a lot. I talk about that with my male counterparts and my female counterparts, that it's a partnership and it's a true partnership. It's not just one that sounds nice. It means that I need help folding laundry. It means that I need help, doing the things that are more traditionally female roles in our culture. And I talk about what that looks like when people show up in that space. I also label how difficult it is to try to navigate through taking time off of work in order to have children. And I've been able to do that through a lot of people supporting me. But I label it, I talk about it. When there's females in our workplace, and now males, because this is important for dads too, to take paternity leaves and be an active part of their lives. But I seek them out and I talk about how difficult it is to be a new parent, how heartbreaking it is to drop your kid off at daycare or leave them with a nanny or even a family member, whatever your situation is. I talk about the pain of that, and I talk about the strength that comes with that, and I talk about how it gets better, and I talk about how it never goes away. But that's how I try to show up as a leader in this industry, is just leading by example, acknowledging that it's not perfect, acknowledging that it's available to anyone who really wants to find a creative way to get in there and sustain it.
Thank you. That's a real answer. I really appreciate that. How about you two? Carson, you have 4 kids, and Ryan has 5, so I'd love to hear about that life balance as well, as Katie was talking about.
I have 1, by the way. I have no idea how you do 4 or 5. I'm like at my max with 1.
It's a lot. It's a lot. 4 is a lot. I think we were talking a little bit about leadership and being, in the spotlight or being on a podium. And I think my experience, I went from going to high school in Orange County at Santa Margarita right to USC, downtown Los Angeles, playing football for USC, prior to the Rams being in town, prior to, there being any NFL competition in town. So you were just constantly on the spotlight, or in the spotlight, and a focal point. And you just got to watch everything you do. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in. I talk about it with our team all the time. Somebody always wants your spot. Somebody wants to be where you are. Somebody wants to be in the position you're in. When our team goes, we practice up until Thursday, maybe school's off on Friday, and it's a long weekend, and we're away from the kids for 3 or 4 days, or a long 3-day weekend. The first thing we talk about as we get ready to break is you represent the name on your shirt and the name on your back. And the name on your shirt is your high school football team. The name on your back is your last name. It's your family name. You also represent your family, but you also represent the institution that you work for or go to school at. And so, and another thing that we talk about a lot is haters gonna hate. People are gonna try to take you down. People want to take you out. You have to watch your back. You have to watch every step you take. Everybody's looking up to you. And if you want to be a leader, you want to have great character, you say you're a man of great character, you're a man of God, if people seeing you without, people see you displaying the opposite of that, it's easy to lose that trust. It's easy to lose that respect. It's hard to earn. If you want to be a man of God, a great character, you have to display it on a consistent basis. And it takes time for somebody to look at you and look up to you and put you on that pedestal. But you can lose it with one bad decision. You can lose it with one slip up here or there. And so I like I said, I going from Orange County to Los Angeles and being the only real football in town prior to, the Rams and the Chargers coming to town, I learned it right from the jump. I saw teammates that made a bad mistake, and it was on the front page of the LA Times or TMZ or whatever it may be. And so, that takes me back to you represent the name, who you work for, the organization, the school, the institution that you're at, and your family name. And you can tarnish that very, very simply. It takes a long time, especially the name on the back of your jersey. That's your family name. It takes a long time for people to respect that. They got to see you do the right thing consistently over and over and over again, but it can disappear with one little small slip up here, one mistake there.
Yeah, I like the way you reference the front of your shirt as the team you play for, and you represent yourself with your name on the back. I've never heard that put that way. I appreciate that. That's really, really good. All right, Ryan?
I'll address it a few different ways. I was certainly a kid that aspired to be like professional athletes and had posters on my wall and would imitate the way, they would play and try to model my game after them. And so I've never lost sight of that now in my role in helping these professional athletes and the impact that they can have. So I sort of see my opportunity to really make a difference in the community is often through them and helping them to shape where they want to make that impact, but also helping them realize in my 25 plus years of doing this, it's harder now to do the job, any job in the spotlight than ever because of social media and because of everybody having a camera on them at all times. And so if you don't want that responsibility that comes with that, I remind every young athlete that we work with, it's your choice. You can retreat from this and get out of the spotlight and not do this. So it's part of your responsibility if you choose to take on any job with public profile. You have a responsibility to carry yourself a certain way. And then beyond the responsibility, you have an opportunity to make an incredible impact. So if you are standing up for the right things, if you are showing up at the right things, if you are, speaking to what matters to you and hoping that can affect others, it really can with like a really compounding effect that maybe never existed before. And so we try to challenge our young athletes to sort of look inside at their heart and where do they want to really make a difference, and then encourage them or help them to get out there and do that. And then separate from that was, the balance for me in the job that I'm doing with family and having 5 kids. And so it's just clearly understood with the people that I work with, both in our company and with the clients, that I'm going to be a balanced person. Now, I'm probably more available than most and on call more than most, but I'm probably sitting at a Little League game or coaching a sport or something like that. And that's just kind of the world that I'm living in all the time. But that balance between, my faith and my family and what I'm doing professionally, that never lets up. And hopefully I'm appreciated and respected for that. And so again, maybe that cost me some business at times, but that's a choice that I made a long time ago, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think that's where I first met you, was on the Little League grandstands there way back with my grandkids. You touched on social media, and that is our final question, which I think you pretty much answered. But how does that influence your decisions with your players, and how do you handle that so that they don't go out and do something dumb on social media, I guess, is one way of looking at it. But it's got to be a challenge, both professionally and even in the high school ranks. So, Katie?
I mean, I'm fortunate in that the leagues that we work in do a great job with the players, especially the young ones that are learning these hard and permanent life lessons, which we didn't have to learn. I mean, I wasn't a professional athlete, but we didn't have to learn as kids because what we did was just, dumb, and then people forgot about it. But here it's, it's documented for life, which is a good thing and a bummer at the same time. And so, instead we talk about, social media as it relates to just our company portfolio and the respect and responsibility that employees have in general as representatives of the family and being attached to athletes and what that means. But I would defer the question more to you two because the NHLPA takes a big lead, and the agents do for the players as well as they're mentoring them through.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to know if, there's any rules. For example, should they even be on social media? I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, social media is very powerful. It's powerful on both ends of the spectrum. It can build you up. There can be revenue streams that come through it, but it can also take you down and take money out of your pocket. And so, the story I share with our players is I had the privilege to play with a guy named Chad Ochocinco, and this is about 2004 or 5. Twitter had just started. I didn't know what Twitter was. I still am not. I'm not good at IT. I'm not good at computers. I'm not good at social media. I don't get involved. But Chad, right when Twitter started, kind of became a thing, and some people knew about it. He was all over it, and he would send out tweets saying, "Hey, I'm at the Valley Fair Mall at 2 p.m." And he would show up, and at 2 p.m. there would be thousands of people that would come out. And then he started using social media to say, "Hey, we play against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. I'm going to hide 2 tickets, 2 player tickets someplace off of 3rd and 8th Street underneath a rock or something." And so I got to see this thing I thought was crazy when I started thinking about it. I'm like, why would you want to tell people what you're doing, show people a picture of what you're eating, show up at a mall and get mobbed by people at a mall? And so I saw the power of it. I've also seen the flip side of it. I've seen guys make mistakes on social media that ruined their career, ruined their opportunity to make a living for their family. And so again, like a lot of what I just said in the last question of who you represent. You represent the institution, the company you work for on the front of your shirt, and your family name. And everything that you put on social media now is permanent for the most part. You can't delete it. People can always find a way to dig it up. So everything you put out there, you're putting out a representation of who you are. Be proud of that. You're either proud of it or you're not. It's really pretty cut and dry when you're talking about 16 to 18-year-old kids. Are you putting something out there? If you want to play at the next level and go to college and play college football, are you putting something out there that a college coach can flip through and go, yes, I want this kid, or man, I don't want to have to deal with this? I mean, it's really, are you proud of it, or is it something that you think that people are going to see and want you to be a part of their organization? And really, again, it just falls back to who you represent. You represent your family, you represent the institution and school or place you work. So what kind of effect, how does that look to those two things?
Yeah, I think the scouts out there, from kids going from high school to, let's say, professional sports, or college, they're smart enough to look on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and check these kids out before they even actually interview them.
And that's how recruiting starts now, really, is X, Twitter. I mean, that's how colleges can kind of go around the rules and have contact with student athletes in high school. But that really has become the platform for players to get film out, for players to create relationships via social media with coaches. So it is very powerful.
All right, before Lucy kicks us off the stage, Ryan, I've got to ask you, are there any policies in place, for example, with the people you sign up, like you don't post, or from social media standpoint?
There certainly aren't any regulations for my industry, but with players, yeah, there's things as NFL players that they're held to a certain standard, that if they post, in certain ways or about, products that they can't, like alcohol or things like that, they're going to get fined, and fined heavily. And That's part of the privilege of getting to play pro football. So yes, we have to help educate them for the ones that want to be active in the space. And again, that's the decision, is do you want to be active in that space or not? It is a surefire way to destroy your confidence is just go on and see what everybody thinks about everything you ever post. Oh,
yeah.
Right? And so I live in that space of sort
Don't
of,
read it.
yeah, a front row seat to sort of the mental performance side of high performers. And there's very few of them that can really be active on social media and engage and follow what the responses are to all of it, because, you know, as Carson said, the haters are going to hate. It never lets up. And so they have to create these boundaries if they do want to be active in the space, to be able to post but not let people into their belief in themselves. So for anybody in any type of performance space, you know, you have to create those boundaries so that you maintain the belief in yourself that you can perform the job. And again, it's a poisonous space to allow all of those thoughts and opinions, you know, that of people that don't know you at all into your mindset. You've got to be really careful of that. And so we try to help educate our players on that front, and if anything, just keep them off it. And
Yeah.
it's a safer way.
Yep. Well, it's been a privilege to be able to be up here on the stage with all three of you. You did a fantastic job. I hope everyone appreciated it. Thank you very much. Ryan, Carson, and Katie, thank you.
And a round of applause for our amazing moderator, Rand Sperry. Rand?